And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're going to be talking about a pre-draft press conference with Adam Peters and also to assistant GM Lance Newmark. We're going to be talking about why we should be excited as Washington Commanders fans for this upcoming season. And so before we go ahead and jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. Just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting many wide receivers for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season, because in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. So make sure that you hit that subscribe and you hit that like button. You join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. And so we are talking about a pre-draft press conference. Once again, this is with Adam Peters and assistant GM Lance Newmark. If you want to look at this, you can go to YouTube and you can go to the Washington Commanders channel there, and you'll be able to see this press conference. And so we are going to be paraphrasing some of the key moments out of this. And so the first thing that I loved about this is just at the start, Adam Peters really thanking just everybody in the organization and just really acknowledging really the hard work that has gone into this. And just point number one there is I think that you get super excited about just the type of work that the front office is doing. It just sounds like it's a total change. And this is why we're excited as Washington Commanders fans, because you could just tell the whole identity of this team has changed, not just on the field, but also too from the top and the way that it is ran. And so he talks about just the head director of the college scouts here for the Washington Commanders. So he acknowledged him, talked about Doug Williams, David Blackburn. So just naming a couple people that he talked about, because he talked about so many, but it was just great to see that. And you could just tell that, look, the front office is putting in just as much work as the players out there. And I think that this is going to lead to some long-term success for us. And so next up, another thing that really got me excited here was he was asked a question, and it was talking about some players that he drafted last season in Jordan McGee, Ben Sinnott, and then also to Johnny Newton. And man, I'm super excited, man, to see what they're going to do, because, you know, he talked about the fact that we now have off-season programs which begin, and you know, he talked about these players have really been putting in work. And so I'm excited to see exactly what type of jump that we're going to see in year two, because I think that a lot of the time we've been talking about Jaden Daniels, and rightfully so, like he was spectacular in year one, but it is also going to be players like Johnny Newton. It's going to be a player like Ben Sinnott, and, you know, also too with Jordan McGee, like it's going to be those type of players that are going to be huge for this team, especially as we start to trend to hopefully winning a Super Bowl, because this is part of your foundation, right? Like, I know that we have, you know, great veterans too as well, but at some point, these guys are going to have to step in and play some major roles for this team. And so it's good to see that they're headed into the right direction. And I'm super excited for the fact that these guys have been putting into the work. It just goes into kind of what Jaden Daniels was talking about, of just having to come in and reprove yourself. And so you love to see this from your younger players coming in and really, I think, kind of setting the standard of what we've heard with the Washington Commanders with that work ethic initially. And so next up, you know, just talking about some of the things that, you know, he was talking about in regards to just what it means to be a Washington Commander. And so I found it interesting when he was asked about, you know, just maybe character and stuff like that. And one of the things that he was talking about is that it's a case-by-case situation when you're going out and you're evaluating players. And he was just talking about, like, look, I've been in a situation where we drafted a player where maybe the character was questionable off the field, but they came in, they became one of the best players with the San Francisco 49ers. They were terrific with the locker room and everything else. And so just talking about how he looks at it from a case-to-case basis. And so, you know, that is huge, because, you know, there's going to be some players that obviously maybe they have some off the field type of stuff, but you just trust in Adam Peters and really this front office and their evaluation process to put us into the right situation and get the right players here, right, in this environment to continue this winning formula. And so I love to hear that from Adam Peters when he's talking about, evaluating talent and just kind of what it takes into that. And so next, I thought it was funny because he gave us a little bit of comedy into it because he was asked about, the possibility of, maybe moving up or down in the draft. And he said that, look, we're open to everything. And then he's talking about Abdul Carter. He was like, look, if he falls to 27, I'm going to try to find a way to go up and get him. And so it was hilarious. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be available that late in this upcoming NFL draft, but man, it would be a story if he was. But it was just funny to hear him say that. And then, you love that because here is a guy that, look, he's saying, look, everything is on the table when it comes down to really getting this football team where we want to go. And so you love to hear that, from your GM. You love to hear that from Lance Newmark and these guys talking about, look, we're going to explore everything possible to get this thing where we need to go. And so love to hear that. And then next up, look, he talks about another thing as far as what is a Washington Commander, and just talking about, I think he was asked about captains, because 7 of the players that I believe he drafted last season, they were team captains. And he was like, look, that doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, that's what we're going for. He was like, just because you were a team captain, then that's fine, but it doesn't mean that, hey, if you're not a team captain, you're not on the radar for the Washington Commanders, because there's certain players, look, they come in, they weren't team captains. They lead in different ways is what he was saying. And so you love to hear that just again, when it comes down to really building out this team, because we talk about it so many times about just the standard and what it means to be really a Washington Commander. And he was like, yeah, leading it, you can be doing it in several different ways, to go along with this good character, but mainly you got to be competitive. He's like, that's the one thing that, they emphasize in every room, is that no matter what happens, the competition level is going to be high. And that's something that Coach Dan Quinn really encourages. And so next up, I think the next thing that he was talking about too is just with this NFL draft and maybe the direction that they might go. He just kind of emphasizes, again, paraphrasing, that it's going to be kind of the situation where whatever's the best fit for the team and the best available, and talking about the fact that this team is in a good situation, that they don't have to go out and really, I kind of take from it like they don't have to go out and do a whole bunch of reaching as far as going out for players and things like that. Like they can go out, they can definitely come into this NFL draft, I'm going to say a bit more maybe relaxed, in the sense that, hey, they have stability in positions and things like that, and they can really concentrate what they need on the team needs. So you love to hear that. And lastly, he was like, look, there is no certainty after pick 10 in this NFL draft. And so it's going to be interesting to see which direction that this Washington Commanders franchise really goes into the draft. And so super excited about that. And then, if you're not familiar with the process as well, going back to point number 2, I think, where we were talking about just some of these programs starting with the NFL, so offseason programs. The offseason programs are broken down into phases. And the first one coming up is going to be the rookie training camp that takes place in May. Then you got your phase 1. And essentially what that is the first 2 weeks of the program. It says that it's focused really on the off-field activities. You have phase 2, where you start to get into some workouts, but you limit them to individual or group drills, no live contact there. It also includes the rookie minicamp. Then you have a phase 3. That's going to be your OTAs. You're going to get your 7 on 7s, your 11 on 11 drills, things like that. Still no live contact. And then that ramps you right up for the mandatory mini camps. And so from a schedule standpoint, April 22nd, that's the first day that we're talking about with these programs starting in the NFL. Then you have that rookie mini camp. April 22nd to 25th, you have phase 1. April 28th to May 1st, that's still a phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be May 5th through the 8th, May 12th through the 15th, and then May 19th through the 22nd. And then phase 3 is May 27th through the 30th, and then you have June 2nd through the 6th. And then lastly, the mini camp starts June 10th through the 12th there. And so that's the schedule that I see here for the Commanders. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking here about what Adam Peters had to say in this press conference. Are you guys excited, for these players that are coming back? And also, too, are you excited for Adam Peters and the direction that he is going to take in the NFL draft? And lastly, before we jump out of here, I just want to let you guys know that, look, we are going to be doing a live NFL draft streaming. So if you come here on Thursday, we're going to stream that live on the channel. We're going to be talking about some draft prospects. We got some stuff going on where we'll probably be looking at some mock drafts as well. So make sure that you hop over here, you take a look at that, and let's see, what the Washington Commanders are going to do. Are they going to go edge with a guy like Pierce? They're going to go with Maxwell Harrington. Are we going to go ahead and pick up an offensive lineman? Are we going wide receiver here? So it's going to be very exciting times here. So make sure that you pop over to the channel. Make sure you press that like and subscribe. And as we always say, go Commanders, and we will see you on the next one. All right, peace.